to Metals and Momentum. My name's Anthony, and in this video, I'm going to show you the uranium chart, and I also want to show you the uranium miners. Now, if you follow me over on Substack, the links are in the description down below. I took a trade notification. I sent out a trade notification this morning on URNM, and what I was seeing was URNM actually break out of a small little bull flag. And why don't we just hop over to the chart right here and take a look. You can see right here is that bull flag that I was talking about here, and then you end the day here at 7.57% upward, an upward swing. And then I was looking at SRUUF. It ended the day up quite significantly as well, but it was all about this little consolidation period. This was a bull flag. Same with URNM. That was a bull flag. We were waiting for that pop, and then once we got it, sent out that trade notification, and it looks like we're slightly in the money there today, so that's fantastic. I'm gonna go over this chart because I think it's so interesting. If you are interested in uranium right now, which I know a lot of people are, then it's actually way better to take a look at URNM opposed to SRUUF, which is like essentially almost like the spot price. I think people joke about it being the Sprott price of uranium, but really what SRUUF is just a physical uranium trust. So this company called Sprott will go and essentially buy your physical uranium and then of course safely store it away, and then you could essentially buy shares of that physical uranium. Now, one thing that I think is so interesting about SRUUF is this, okay? So we had a sideways to downward chop in SRUUF for quite some time during the beginning of the year. Some of you might remember this well. I think I bought a little early here, so I ended up taking a small loss, so somewhere around this general area here. Once it broke that 200-day moving average there, it entered into this little downtrend. It was just sideways to downward chop, moving down in this direction. But one of the things that I think is so interesting is the price of physical uranium ended up bottoming out after a 13% decline from this peak here. Now, if you go over to URNM, if you take the top of this to the bottom here, this is a 34.30% decline, which is a little strange because on the SRUUF chart, you bottomed out right here, and it's the same setup. This URNM is normally exactly the same as SRUUF, so much so that you could actually lay on top of that the Sprott Physical Uranium Trust. And for the most part, if you go back in history, that is my dog barking there. I don't know what's going on there. But so one thing you'll notice about the URNM versus SRUUF chart, the blue line here is going to be SRUUF, and then URNM is the candles underneath it. One thing that you can see over the long period of time there, since essentially like all the way back here, you have very few points where you diverge and separate. Like the charts are almost identical, right? So there's moments where you get a little bit of a larger dip, but then you come back right up as SRUUF begins to trade higher here. So this chart is almost identical. Like you can lay the chart over one another and keep it pretty much the same over a long period of time. Even coming up into 2026, you had that spike in SRUUF. Uranium stocks went a little bit higher, but again, it's essentially the same chart. But one thing, I'll just pause on this screen right here and then get rid of the measurement. One thing that you can notice here is the divergence between URNM and SRUUF. For the most part, over the recent history, this has pretty much been the same chart. But right when you get into about June, SRUUF starts to trade sideways and URNM gets hit really hard. Like, for example, like when we go over to the SRUUF chart, you could see where it creates like an area of support. And I labeled this as like a must hold kind of area. If it dips below here, we're really in trouble, but it never dipped below there and then confirmed the next day. So very, very interesting. But yet URNM, it dipped below here over in June and then just kept going lower, which is pretty kind of crazy to think about. So what I was thinking about when I saw SRUUF start to break out, and I'm gonna get rid of my blue line here. Once I started to see this break up above and actually hold that support line and then create another bull flag, I started to get really, really interested in URNM. I think I wrote, like, in my bi-weekly report that I send out to my subscribers, I think it has been almost like a month now or something like that. It was the beginning of August or something like that, I think. I was saying, if you're interested in uranium, then buy the miners. Like, disregard SRUUF for a second, because the miners are way, way undervalued. I'm going to bring back the SRUUF chart again just to see how much we need to actually make up here for URNM to actually just catch up with the SRUUF kind of chart. Like I said, throughout history, it's normally the same chart. There's that little dip of convergence or divergence right here. And this is where I think the opportunity is in URNM, where you could start to get this catch-up trade. So if SRUUF is somewhere right up here, we have the same support lines labeled right here as support. And I'm just going to clean up the chart just a little bit so that way we're not getting so confused as to what we're looking at here. You see these two lines of support right here on SRUUF. It's starting to break up and make a run for the resistance point, which would be this general area. There's going to be a lot of resistance right around here. So I would expect SRUUF, if it's going to break into this kind of channel that I've highlighted on the chart here, then you're probably going to consolidate sideways. If not, maybe even have a pullback, form another bull flag or something like that. We'll find out when we get there. We don't need to guess. But basically, this is the resistance point. And look at how far URNM needs to travel just to catch up with SRUUF. And I've even marked it on the chart here. We just broke above the 200-day moving average on SRUUF, but URNM is well under its 200-day moving average. It actually doesn't really make all that much sense. So really, I was thinking my upside here just to catch up to SRUUF and bring it back to equilibrium where SRUUF and URNM, they're essentially trading in the same kind of chart pattern, then this has about a 15% increase. And then if SRUUF is somewhere around this resistance point, that previous all-time high that we saw on the chart back here, we labeled this as resistance. We're almost there right now. Then URNM should get up to maybe around a 20% gain there, which would be absolutely fantastic here. Like I said, I was labeling it from about where we got in, somewhere around here is where I sent out that trade notification. So we already are in the money here, but I'll start to get really excited when URNM starts to clear that 200-day moving average. This is that blue line that I have on the chart here. And then you'd have multiple layers of support. We can even label these as support once URNM moves upward just a little bit longer. Maybe it taps that 200-day moving average, comes back down and does something like this. And then you just get like a little stair step up to that 20% gain, which takes us into that resistance point where we could already see SRUUF is pretty much already there. So that is the opportunity that I'm seeing in URNM. I think it's such an interesting play because, it was a little while ago, we were getting multiple breakouts on URNM. Like you broke out right in here, but then you also formed that bull flag, which is this parallel here. And then today you're getting that huge breakout, huge volume too. Let's double check what the volume was on the day here. So, okay, maybe not huge, but like significant, more than, what it's been like in the last little while. But you're getting that big pop. That's signaling to me oversold. Let's just double check the MACD. This is going to tell you whether or not we're overbought or underbought. Yeah, we're we're not even close to being overbought on here. We're just breaking kind of like even, not oversold, not overbought, really just right in the middle, right at zero, breaking to the upside. And then let's check relative strength, because I like to make sure that this is coming over 55. And yeah, we're at 63 right now. We got 55 on there, the little moving average there. So that's perfect. That's exactly what we want to see for a breakout to the upside. This has legs. That's what I wanted to highlight in this video. A subscriber was asking me a question, whether or not to sell URNM. And I'm thinking to myself, there's a lot of good things going on this chart right now, and I wouldn't. I mean, I literally sent the trade notification this morning saying that I'm buying this little push here. So that's how I feel about it, and I've got my own money invested there. So if you're interested and you want to join those, join my Substack. I send out a bi-weekly report. You can get that for free over on Substack. The links are in the description. And then, of course, my service on Substack is $9 a month. That's Canadian dollars, by the way. So that's pretty inexpensive for Americans trading in American dollars. It's $9 a month. You get trade notifications and then a little bit more inside. The bi-weekly report for the paid subscribers is actually quite in depth. So if you're interested in getting that, then hop over to the links in the description down below. That is where I'm going to leave it. Thanks so much for watching. And I will see you sometime soon, because there's a lot going on in the charts recently. And, every once in a while I'll try and take a break from YouTube and just post on Substack as often as I can. And things are heating up in the market and things are starting to move. So it's going to be interesting to start to make a little bit more YouTube videos once again. So thanks so much for joining me. My name's Anthony, and I'll see you in the next one.